What the hell is up, everybody? Louie back here again for another fantastic weekend of fights. You got UFC Long Island coming up. We're back in front of people. I cannot wait. You got a monster matchup. Brian Ortega taking on Yair Rodriguez, 145 pounds. Possibly for a title shot if Yair Rodriguez wins. We'll see. 145 is getting kind of interesting now that the trilogy's finally over. Then you got Miesha Tate making her flyweight debut against Lauren Murphy. Murphy coming off the Valentina Shevchenko loss. And then you also got Matt Schnell and MUDAERJI at flyweight. I'm pretty excited about that one. It's a big matchup for either guy, and do or die for Matt Schnell, in my opinion. And then you got Shane Burgos taking on Charles Jourdain. I'm very excited for that one. But the one I'm mostly excited for is at 135 pounds. You got Ricky Simón taking on Jack Shore. I think these are just two guys trying to get above the top 10. And it's a great matchup, and Jack Shore is on a meteoric rise. And if he can get past Ricky Simón, then, you know, he's going to be a superstar. Last weekend, I did pretty bad. I got like 4 or 5 right. Basically, Ricky Tercios, I should not have bet minus 200 on him at all, and that was my fault. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And then, you know, I took a flyer on RDA, and, you know, it goes how it goes. Anyway, we got 12 fights. Let's get into it right now. First fight of the night, 115 pounds, women's strawweight. You got Jessica Penne taking on newcomer Emily DUCOTE, I think. Penne took on Carolina Kowalkiewicz, her last fight. In the first round, she presses with the 1-2s in the pocket. Her kick is caught. She gets pushed down, but she's able to grab a body lock, and she's able to get on top and then land some standing ground and pound, standing over her. I like seeing that. And then she transitions into the full mount, and then she goes for the arm bar. She rolls through the position. Carolina is trying to scramble out of it, and then she just keeps on it, a little bit of a struggle, and she finally gets the arm bar submission. So very good to see that from her, but it didn't really answer a lot of questions doing tape. With Emily DUCOTE, she took on Alicia Zapatella her last fight. In the first round, she stalks at range. She's able to pump jabs, land some straight shots. She slips the hooks, and then she's looking to counter, taking her time, picking her shots. She steps with some 1-2. She's able to stuff the double leg attempt, but then she gets clinched to the fence, but then she's able to land a straight right, and then land a lead left hook, get in her face a little bit at the end. Then in the second round, she lands a lead left hook, and she's able to rock her with that. Then she stuffs the double leg attempt again, and then she's able to start landing some long hooks, picking her shot, not putting herself in danger. And then she gets put in a crackdown. She gets shot a high crotch on, but she's getting the crotch lock and defending it pretty well. And then she's also able to keep the whizzer, and then she gets right back to her feet with using a wall walk, so I like seeing that. And back in the feet, she lands a straight right. She's able to get the clinch, and then they just kind of end the fight with the doctor stoppage because of Zapatella's eye. So, Emily DUCOTE, minus 165, Jessica Penne, plus 140. Honestly, I don't really know. I just know Penne, you know, coming after like a 2-year layoff, her last fight, a little bit older. Emily DUCOTE, she's been active. She's looking for her shot. The line's not too wide. I'm just going to go with Emily DUCOTE here. I think she's not going to get caught in an armbar. I think she'll be able to stay at range and pick her shots, but we'll see. Second fight of the night at 185 pounds, men's middleweight. You got Dwight Grant taking on Dustin STOLTZFUS. Should be interesting here. Dwight Grant took on Sergey Kadzko, his last fight, but that was at 170, moving up to 185 this fight. In the first round, he presses the jab, lands the overhand. He lands some stiff jabs, kind of hurting him a little bit, and then he gets dropped with the hook when he's throwing an overhand, though. But then he's able to dip, and he throws some wild hooks inside the pocket. Then he circles and backs up, not really trying to engage. Then he lands some hooks whenever he gets pressed, and then he's able to drop him with the cross over top of his jab. And then he gets his back taken standing at the end, but it doesn't really matter. And then in the second round, he's able to catch the kick, land a straight right. Then he's able to dip a straight shot from him. Then he lands a hook to the body, and then he presses with a body kick and some straight shots. Just starts taking a little bit more ground here. But then he lands a lead left hook off of Sergey's jab. There we go. And then he's on the inside, and then he's able to land another straight shot. But then he gets rocked with a short left hook whenever he throws his overhand right. But then he gets dropped with another left hook, and then he eats a flurry and just gets TKO'd. And he was doing pretty well up until that point, so tough to see, but just really doesn't do much of anything in my opinion. And then Dustin Stoltzfus took on Gerald Meerschaert his last fight. In the first round, he eats a body kick at range, and then he gets taken down with the blast double right away. But he's able to get out of the back, and then he's able to get him down, reverse him with a single leg. I like seeing that. And then he's able to escape the armbar attempt from Gerald and get into side control. Doesn't do any damage. But in the second round, he gets pressed with some jabs, but he's able to land some counter hooks whenever he gets pressed by Gerald. Then he gets caught in a plum tie. But he's able to get the double leg takedown off of the fence, and then able to pass guard, but doesn't do any damage again, but still able to get that top control. I think it could be up 2 rounds at this point. Then in the third round, he gets dropped with the left cross off of his kick. Then he gets clinched to the fence, but he's able to get the double leg takedown again, really nice. And then back on the feet, he's able to dip the jab, and he lands an overhand, but he misses his hook, swings a little wild. But then he's able to back out of Gerald's overhands, and then he's able to get the double leg takedown from there. So I really like seeing that good defensive, offensive wrestling from defense to not get hit. So I really like seeing that kind of creative. But then he slides off of his back, and then he gets submitted with rear naked choke. Slides off of Gerald's back. Gerald takes his back, and it was lights out. He kind of found a way to lose in that fight, to be honest, but you know, he hung in there, looked really good. Stoltzfus plus 115, Dwight Grant minus 135. I'm just going to go Stoltzfus because Dwight Grant doesn't do much of anything. I'm not confident in him. Stoltzfus is the underdog. I think Stoltzfus will have the better grappling, might be able to take him down here, might even get a submission. Who knows? I really don't know. I'm just going to go with the dog money, Dustin Stoltzfus. And we should see. Should be a slot fest here, I think. Third fight of the night, 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight. You got Dustin Jacoby taking on Jung. Should be interesting. Dustin Jacoby's kind of on the bubble now, so a win here could, get him some decent recognition in that weight class and maybe be looked at as a real contender. Jacoby took on Michael Olejczyk his last fight. In the first round, he backs up, pumps his jabs and straight shots. Then he pumps some jabs, but he gets pressed and he eats some hooks and straight shots from him. But then his leg kick is caught and he gets taken down, but he's able to get right back up, so that's a good sign. Then he's able to land a check left hook when he gets pressed toward the end. Then in the second round, he starts pressing forward, landing his jabs, lands a 1-2 and then a knee and then an uppercut, and then he drops him with the hook flurry. But he doesn't kill himself, just does just enough to get him down. But then back on the feet, he's able to slip his hook and gets a single off the fence, but he's not able to hold him down there for very long. Still good for to get the takedown, but then he gets pressed with some jabs and he eats a right hook and then a left cross on the fence. Then in the third round, he just starts jabbing. It lands some jabs at range, picks his shots a little bit more, but then he eats overhand off of his jab, he gets countered, and then he gets the clinch against the fence for a long time. Doesn't really do much, throws some knees, but smart performance from him, I would say. Then Jung took on Kennedy and Nzechukwu his last fight. In the first round, he lands some jabs at range, and then he lands some hooks through Nzechukwu's guard. Nzechukwu didn't do much of anything in this fight, but then he eats a straight at range when he gets countered. But then he lands a step-in right hooks inside the pocket, and then he rocks him with some elbows through the guard and just gets TKO because Nzechukwu just kind of standing there at range. He just throws his elbows through there and gets TKO. Kind of a weird performance from Nzechukwu, but Nzechukwu just got a big win. So, Jung minus 125, Dustin Jacoby plus 105. And the line's been going back and forth on this. It's basically even money here. I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby. I just think he'll be able to utilize those clinches. I think he might lose the first round, but his last fight, he wasn't able to leg kick, and he even said that he injured. So, if he has leg kicks in his game, I think he'll be able to keep Jung off of him. And, as long as he doesn't hit with the big shot, but if he does, I think he could eat a shot or two. And I just think, he'll probably get 3-round decision. So my pick here is Dustin Jacoby. Fourth fight of the night, 145 pounds, men's featherweight. Bill ALGEO taking on Herbert Burns. Herbert Burns coming after a 2-year-long layoff. So Bill ALGEO took on Joe Anderson Brito his last fight. In first round, he gets clinched to the fence, and then he gets taken on the double, but he's able to get back up. But then he gets doubled again, and he gives up his back. But eventually, he turns into him. I like seeing that, doesn't give up on hhimself. And then gets back on his feet, and then he slips the jabs, and he brings his knee up the middle whenever he gets pressed. I really like seeing that good defense. That's could catch somebody by surprise. Then he lands a jab and a face kick. Second round, he circles out of the clinch and he dips the shots. He's able to land his own overhand. Then he gets pressed with some jabs, but he's able to defend the double leg attempt against the cage finally. And then he eats some leg kicks out range. Then he eats a 1-2 in the pocket, and then a straight flurry against the fence. Then he's able to stuff the double leg attempt, and he's able to get into side control, just throws his hips in. Then there against the cage, gets like a 3/4 Nelson, and then starts landing some knees against the fence, really punishing him there. But then he gets pressed, eats a 1-2 at the end. Then in the third round, he breaks off the clinch faster, not accepting the position. Then he slips the hooks, and he's able to get around his back. Then he's able to stuff the double leg attempt again. Then he's able to get the body lock trip, and he's able to get the back and land some elbows from there. Really end the fight in a strong note. So I like seeing that. And then Herbert Burns fought Daniel Pineda his last fight, again 2 years ago, and he missed weight for this fight. In the first round, he eats an overhand right while he's throwing a kick, but then he steps in, and he comes out and gets the double, and he has his back while he's standing, but then he pulls him down, but he can't hold him there, trying to, you know, take his back and get his hooks in, but he can't really do much there because Pineda was quick to get up. But then he pulls the plum tie on the feet, but he eats a hook, and then he gets doubled. Then he eats some ground pound, but he threatens the arm bar, but, you know, and doesn't do much, and then just gets beat up basically for the round. Then in the second round, he lands a straight right to the double leg. Then he gets one hook in standing against the fence, and he pulls him down, but then he gets reversed, and then he gets put in a crucifix for a long time. And to Burns' credit, he fights like hell, tries to get out, but it's just too much. Can't go anywhere, takes too many shots and gets a TKO. And he just dramatically dropped off this whole fight. Herbert Burns plus 170, Bill ALGEO minus 200. This is a tough one, but Herbert Burns, I think Herbert Burns is too many unanswered questions here. I don't like this price, but I just do not have faith in Herbert Burns at all. Like, I forgot he was even on the roster, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with Bill ALGEO. I think maybe Herbert Burns has a good first round. If Bill ALGEO can get out of the first round, I think he might even ALGEO will be able to take Burns down. And I think he's going to be able to land some shots at range. And nothing about me makes it want to bet Herbert Burns. So I'm going to go with Bill ALGEO minus 200. But if you do Bill ALGEO by KO plus 200, which is in play because Burns doesn't have a good chance. So Bill ALGEO. I hope I'm right on this one, man, because I got to get these underdogs correct. All right, the co-main event of the prelims, 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. You got Ricky Simone taking on Jack Shore. Very excited for this one. Two guys fighting to get above the top 10 here at bantamweight, and bantamweight's the most competitive weight class, so it's a big fight for each guy. Simone took on Rafael Sensao his last fight. First round, he lands a lead left hook at range. He lands a double jab, and then he gets a double leg takedown off the fence. I really like seeing him set up his wrestling with his strikes, not just a pure wrestler. And then he's able to stays on him, just keeps grinding, does let him get up, you know, takes him down a couple times again. Then he's able to get another double big slam and get into half guard and just do work. Not crazy damage, but enough damage. In the second round, he stalks at range, but he doesn't rush into anything. And then he's able to slip the hooks, and then he lands a right hook off of a Sensao's jab, excuse me. Then he lands a left uppercut to the body and then an overhand right, and then just gets a knockout, man. Right against the cage there, kind of cut him off against the cage. Sensao was just a step behind, and Ricky took his time, but he went in for the kill, and I really like seeing that. And, you know, Ricky Simone looks really good, to say the least. Then Jack Shore took on Timur Valiev his last fight. In the first round, he pressures towards the fence, and then he's able to get back out of the way of kicks, and, he's able to land his leg kicks and then slide out of the range whenever Valiev comes forward. And then he's able to stuff the shot, keeps the overhook, a good defense. Then he lands a body kick, but it gets caught, and then he gets taken down off of there. But he gets up with a butterfly guard, really good defense there. And then he gets a clinch against the fence. Then he lands a step-in right hook, and then he's able to back out of the range of hooks of Valiev. So he's in and out and doing some decent damage. In the second round, he catches the kick, and he's able to get the takedown, but he can't hold him down. But then back on the feet, eats some body hooks whenever they're on the strike on the inside. Then he gets taken down with a single, but he eventually is able to wall walk up, and he keeps the overhook again, and remembering good defense there. Then he keeps a high guard, and he looks to counter whenever Valiev comes on the inside in the pocket. Then he lands a step-in right hook, and then he jabs, and then he backs out of the blitz, and then gets able to get the clinch attempt, so using Valiev's momentum against him. Then he tries the body lock trip, but he pulls him on top of him, basically. But then he gets right back up with the switch. So he's always on it, not accepting any positions here. He's going to need that against Simone. Then in the third round, he drops him with a 1-2 right away. Then he lands a jab and a body kick, and he catches the kick. And he gets to the single, and then he's able to survive guillotine attempt. Decently deep guillotine, but he survived it. So Another good sign there. Then he gets a single leg, shoots it to the fence, doesn't get him down, but pressures him. Then he eats a step and jab at range, but he's able to drop him with a counter left hook in the pocket. So you got Jack Shore minus 150, Simone plus 130. Two bright prospects here. Two guys I've been pretty high on, but I've been more high on Simone just because of how dominant his wrestling looks. And close line here. I'm going to go with Ricky Simone here. I think the wrestling is going to be a difference maker. I know Shore is a decent wrestler, has decent wrestling defense. I think the first round could go to anybody, but I think as the fight goes on, Ricky Simone does not stop attacking with those takedowns. As long as he doesn't get hit with the big shot, I think Ricky's going to be able to get him down with a big blast double in the second and the third round and really start coming on late. My pick here, Ricky Simone. All right. The main events of the prelims. I don't know why this is the main event over Ricky Simone. I might be wrong, but the official UFC site has it listed this way, so excuse me. 185 pounds, men's middleweight. You got PENNE Soriano taking on DUCOTE LUNGIAMBULA. Soriano took on Nick Maximov his last fight. In the first round, he eats a straight right, and then he gets double leg pretty much right away. But he's able to land a 1-2, and he lands a knee off of Max's takedown attempt, Maximov's takedown attempt. Then he lands some knees, but then he gets backpacked at the end for the rest of the round. Then the second round, he's able to cut off the cage, lands some short hooks, presses with a 1-2. Then he lands a hook to the body, but then he eats some straight shots from Maximov. But he's able to get to his feet multiple times, tries to reverse the position with the switch. Not the smartest move in my opinion, but he does get to his feet and the effort is there. I like seeing that. But then in the third round, he gets doubled from space and just gets ridden out and he had nothing left. So drops off huge in the third round. First two rounds, he looked pretty competitive though. And then just first round of his last fight against Brennan Allen. First round, he landed some head kicks at range, lands a step in straight left. He lands some short hooks whenever he gets pressed in the pocket, waiting for him to come into him. And then he's able to punch his way out of the clinch, doesn't accept the position there, and then he presses some hooks. Then he eats some straight shots from Brennan, but then he lands a lunge left and then a right hook to the body. So he looked all right and looked good against Allen. So. And then DUCOTE LUNGIAMBULA took on Cody Brundage. Oh, and LUNGIAMBULA is nowhere near the wrestler Maximov is, if you can, So took on Cody Brundage. First round, he stalks, slides back out of range whenever he gets pressed. Then he dips down and throws it over the hand, but he gets clinched, eats a knee for his trouble. Then he gets taken down with a single against the fence, but he keeps the whizzer, and then he hurts him with some punches, just kind of unloads on him, just kind of does idiot defense, I guess you would say, or just kind of spaz defense, spazzes on him, hurts him, with that. He's got a lot of power. And then he lands an uppercut, and then a flurry against the fence, and then he gets the double leg takedown off the fence, but then he gets submitted with a guillotine. So, I don't know, just got a little overzealous there, I guess. But, he had Brundage in a lot of trouble. I just think he needed to calm himself down. He could have finished that fight. And then first round against Marc-Andre Barriault, he backs up and pumps his jabs, and then he just wings overhand rights, pretty sloppy. But then he lands some step-in uppercuts, which are nice. And then he gets a double to a hip toss, but he can't hold him down there. But still nice knowing he has that in his arsenal. And he's able to dip the punch and get the trip takedown again, but he can't hold him there. So, but, he has some decent wrestling offense, but just can't really do much. DUCOTE plus 195, PENNE minus 230. I think PENNE's more accurate. I think he's a better striker. I think he's faster, but I think LUNGIAMBULA has more power. And what this line is so out of whack, dude. I'm not betting minus 230 on Soriano. Sorry. I just dropped off after the third round against Maximov. I know DUCOTE is a different fighter, but I just cannot back that. Out of sheer principle, my pick here is DUCOTE LUNGIAMBULA. He has got the power. First fight on the main card, 125 pounds, women's flyweight. You got Lauren Murphy taking on Miesha Cupcake Tate. Kind of excited for this one, to be honest. Lauren Murphy took on Valentina Shevchenko her last fight. Didn't go well for her. First round, she walks into a hook. She catches a kick, but then she eats a hook from Valentina. She gets pressed with multiple 1-2s and then leg kick combinations. And then she walks into a 1-2 body kick combo. Then in the second round, she circles, gets the clinch on the fence, but then she tries a single. Can't get it, obviously, and then she eats a straight right at range, and then she misses some jabs, and then she steps in and gets body locked from that, and then in the third round, she eats some jabs and kicks, basically. Then in the fourth round, not too much happens, and then she just gets leg kicked and just gets blown out of the water by Valentina Shevchenko. So it is what it is, but she fought admirably. Miesha Tate took on Ketlin Vieira her last fight at 135. And in the first round, she eats some jabs from range. Then she eats a cross while she's coming in, but then she slides inside and lands a nice 1-2, but then she eats some straights in return, but then she blitzes, gets the clinch, and then she's able to stuff a takedown attempt from Ketlin. Second round, she lands a right cross from range. She steps in, but she gets countered with straights whenever she comes in, and then she lands a front kick, and then some lead hooks, and then a 1-2 in the pocket, so looking decent there toward the end. Then in the third round, she presses with some jabs, lands a 1-2, able to slip Ketlin's hook, and then she jabs, but then she eats some hooks in return, but she's taking more ground here, and then she lands jab to the clinch, and then she gets another clinch toward the end of the fight, and you know, just kind of keep it close and competitive. And you know, this is only a 3-round fight as opposed to 5, so I think both ladies would be in shape. Miesha Tate minus 205, Lauren Murphy plus 175. I was going back and forth, but the more I think about it, you know, two main red flags. Miesha Tate took some time off previously. She just got back into fighting this year. She's moving down a weight class for the very first time. She's minus 200. You know, let's see what Lauren Murphy can do, dude. Plus 175. It's high-level women's MMA, but still, two main red flags from Miesha Tate. Not even looking at it from a technical standpoint here. I'm just, you know, I think Murphy, she might be able to win those clinch battles. She might be able to wear on her. Hopefully, Miesha gets tired toward the end. My pick here is Lauren Murphy. Let's see what happens. You know, let's win some money. Very excited for this one. Certified banger alert. Second fight on the main card, 145 pounds, men's featherweight. You got Shane Burgos taking on Charles Air Jourdain. Can't wait. Man, dude, violence. Burgos took on Billy Quarantillo his last fight. In the first round, he gets pressed, eats some hooks, and then he gets clinched. Then he's able to get his own clinch against the fence, eat some jabs at range, then an uppercut from Billy, kind of go back and forth in the pocket. But then he drops him with a short right in the pocket in the first round. So it looked really good there. Then in the second round, he eats some jabs and hooks, but he's able to roll with the punches, and he drops him with a leg kick. Very nice. And then he lands a leg kick and a jab whenever he gets pressed forward against. And then he eats a 1-2 after landing a leg kick, but then he eats a 1-2, but then he's able to rock him with the right cross and makes him pay whenever he comes in on him. So I like seeing that. Then in the third round, he lands some right crosses and jabs, and then he drops him with another leg kick whenever Billy's coming forward, perfectly timed. Then he eats a hook in the pocket exchange, but then he gets clinched to the fence, but he's able to stuff all the takedowns from Billy. So, you know, he looked really good. Good back and forth. Relatively competitive fight, but, you know, Burgos landed the bigger shots, and Burgos has the power, so. And then Charles Jourdain took on Lando Venata his last fight. Venata moving down in weight class. First round, his leg kick is caught, and then he gets taken down the double. But he's able to just get a right, just stands up basically, able to escape, not down there too long, didn't take damage. But his kick is caught, and then he eats some hooks from Landa. But he's able to drop Landa with a straight left off of whenever Landa steps in with a knee, and then he's able to get the guillotine submission. Goes for the guillotine, man. Stuff that they tell you not to do, he does it. Very tight guillotine, got the submission. Very well done from him. Big performance. And then before that, he took on Andre Ewell. This is just the first round. First round, he pressures and he circles, lands some leg kicks. Then he lands a left uppercut to the body. Then a straight left off of Andre's hooks. And then it lands a head kick. And then he eats a left cross, pressing on the cage. But he can eat some shots to keep coming forward. He just doesn't want to eat too many shots from Burgos. Charles plus 145. Shane minus 170. I think Shane's a better fighter, but I just have a feeling I think Charles can get it done. I think this is a big spot for him. I think he can rise to the occasion. Burgos has taken some damage over his career. And, you know, I just think Charles might walk into some shots early, but I think later as the fight goes on, he might be able to wear on him. Shane not really going to be able to keep up his timing, and Charles will be able to slip some shots. And, you know, we'll see, man. We'll see. I think Shane's not like known as a wrestler, so I think Charles will be okay in that aspect. But I like the money here. I'm gonna go Charles Jourdain money line, and then the whole fight to go over 2.5 rounds minus 110. I think that's a decent play as well. But Charles Air Jourdain, baby. Okay. Third fight on the main card, 125 pounds, men's flyweight. Looking forward to this one. Matt Schnell taking on MUDAERJI. Yeah, dude, MUDAERJI hasn't really fought a ton. I think he fought like a year ago last, but 26 years old, trying to make a name for himself. Matt Schnell kind of at the end of his career, but, you know, wants a big win to stay relevant. So this will service both guys here with a victory. Matt Schnell took on Brandon Raw Dog Royval his last fight. In the first round, he eats a head kick at range, and then he eats a right hook whenever he's coming in, trying to close the distance. But then he lands a straight left, and then he makes Brandon parry his jab. So parry his right hand, then he lands a jab on him, excuse me. And then he's able to drop him with a right hook in the pocket. And then he's able to defend the leg lock whenever Brandon tries to go for that. And then able to pass his guard, and then he pulls a guillotine and then tries a Darce, but then Brandon's able to stand up, and Matt is still on his knees. And then Brandon pulls a guillotine, and, you know, SCHNELL submits. So very very back and forth fight, very crazy fight. And yeah, but I like SCHNELL. What he did was very smart. He made Brandon parry his jab, and then he lands a right hook and dropped him. So like right in the pocket too. So I thought that was impressive. But you know, SCHNELL's mother unfortunately passed away before that fight, and just fighting with a lot of emotion, and you know, just kind of literally stuck his neck out there for him. So, but then MUDAERJI took on Zhurigadishev his last fight. In the first round, he stalks at range, then he backs out of the overhands from Adishev. Then he lands some step-in jabs, and then he's just looking to counter. Then in the second round, he slides back, but he eats an overhand when he's going backwards. Then he lands a straight left whenever he gets pressed. But then he gets dropped with the overhand off of his kick. But he's able to drop him with the check right hook off of his body hook. So, you know, that was good. He's being smart as well. Then in the third round, keeps his distance more, doesn't want to rush into anything, doesn't want to get rocked again. Then he lands some body kicks. Then he lands a body kick and then a jab. But then he eats overhand at range. So, back and forth fight, relatively competitive fight. MUDAERJI didn't really have a definitive performance in my opinion. MUDAERJI minus 265, SCHNELL plus 225. On paper, I would pick MUDAERJI, but again, this line is absolutely ridiculous, and SCHNELL's got power. He can drop people, and I just feel like MUDAERJI's not going to do much, man, and I think SCHNELL's going to be able to have the big moments, get in there and make it dirty, as long as he doesn't get caught in submission. And, you know, MUDAERJI got caught in a lot of submissions as well. SCHNELL has a good submission game. So, you know, SCHNELL, plus 225. Make it happen. The feature fight of the night, 170 pounds, men's welterweight. You got Jingliang, the Leech, taking on Muslim Salikhov. Muslim Kung Fu Master Salikhov, I think his name is. Jingliang took on Khamzat Chimaev his last fight. Basically just throws a hook, gets body locked, and gets back taken, rear naked choked. What are you going to do? It's Zat Daddy. But before that, he took on Santiago Ponzinibbio. In the first round, he pumps his jab at range. He eats a jab, but he returns with a 1-2. Lands a lunge 1-2, a little too short. But you can tell he has power on it. Then he's in the pocket, eats some jabs, but he counters and he throws some straights, and he blocks. He's able to block Santiago's shots with a high guard. Then he lands a left hook and gets the KO. So kind of out of nowhere, just one big KO. Now Santiago coming off a 2-year-long layoff before that, and he's a little older, but the dude's got power, man. So, and then Muslim Salikhov took on Francisco Trinaldo his last fight. In the first round, he backs out in circles at range, but then he gets pressed with the 1-2 and then a plum knee. But then he lands a step-in body kick and a head kick whenever he gets pressed. Then he's able to slip the jab and lands a right hook, and then he eats some straights, but then he's able to clinch up from there. So when he's in trouble, he goes for the clinch, and then he drops him with the uppercut whenever he gets pressed in the pocket toward the end of the round. So decent round for him. Second round, he gets pressed with some body hooks to the body to the clinch, but he's able to break off of there, doesn't want to hang out there. Then he eats some straight shots when he's coming in, but he lands a step-in body hook, and then he rocks him with a right hook standing at range. Then he leans back out of the way of hooks, kind of like the Matrix defense, and then he lands some straight rights. Then in the third round, he eats a left hook, but then he's able to get the clinch. Then he lands a 1-2 front kick and then a wheel kick. Then he lands some more step-in 1-2s, eats a left hook in the pocket, but then he's able to get the double leg takedown. So he can wrestle a little bit. Decent performance from him. Trinaldo is a little older, but still tough, savvy veteran. So good win for him. Muslim minus 165, Jingliang plus 140. But going back and forth here, but the more I think about it, I think, you know, Jingliang doesn't have a great chin, very bad at wrestling defense, and he's going to have to knock Muslim out. I think Muslim's got a decent chin. I think Muslim's going to be able to keep distance, jab him up, land straight shots, maybe even catch Lee coming in, duck his hooks, maybe get a takedown or something like that. The line's not too wide. I'm going to go with Muslim Salikhov here. And then under 2.5 rounds, plus 120, plus money. I could see it happening. Muslim Salikhov. The co-main event of the evening at 115 pounds, women's strawweight. You got Michelle Karate Hottie Watterson taking on Amanda Lemos. It's an okay co-main event. I'm not complaining here, I guess. Michelle Watterson took on Marina Rodriguez her last fight. In the first round, she was up at 125 at this, by the way. So she stalks with some leg kicks and side kicks, but she eats a step-in overhand from Rodriguez. But then she eats a step-in straight, but she's able to counter with the overhand. And then she lands a step-in leg kick again. And then she gets her back to the fence, kind of skirts along the fence. And then she throws a hook to a clinch. That's how she gets into the clinch. But then she eats some knees and elbows in there. Every time she got in the pocket with Marina in the clinch, didn't really go well for her. Then in the second round, she gets pressed with the hook and a head kick. And then she gets a front headlock whenever she's pressed, but then she eats some knees inside the clinch again, but then she lands some lunge jabs and side kicks, but they're a little too short, just kind of throwing them out there and getting herself off balance. But then she eats a hook and a knee flurry against the cage toward the end. Then in the third round, she eats a straight right and then a head kick against the fence again. Marina getting a little more aggressive, but then she eats a 1-2 and then some knees and then another hook flurry. But she's able to drop her real quick with an oblique kick, just kind of caught her off balance, but still looks good for the judges. And then she's able to land another leg kick as soon as she gets up, hard one, so that was pretty gangster. Then she eats some elbows in the clinch, but she's able to land an uppercut toward the end there. That was 5 rounds, only 3-round fight, so she's gonna go with that. But you know, competitive fight, but Marina was just getting the better of her on the inside, and Marina had the bigger moments, I feel like. Amanda Lemos took on Jessica Andrade her last fight, big step up for her. In the first round, she stalks and jabs, lands a leg kick at range, but then she eats a body kick in return. She lands a right cross, and then a hook, and she wobbles her with a leg kick, really nice. And then she lands a front kick, and then a right cross whenever she gets pressed forward. But Jessica's able to duck and get an arm triangle standing and tap her out because she's Jessica Andrade. So, not necessarily fair to judge her off that fight. So before that, she took on Angela Hill. I'm just going to go over the first round. She circles against the cage, and she looks for the hook off of Angela's jab. But then she drops her with a front face kick, lands some hard ground and pound. Can't finish her, though. But then she pulls the guillotine, and she was able to pull the guillotine, but Angela's able to slip out of it. But she's able to use the butterfly guard to get back to her feet, like seeing that. Doesn't accept bad position. Then she eats a right hook blitz from Angela. Angela goes a little wild against the fence. But then she lands a lunge jab, throws a lunge jab. It's a little too short, though. And then she gets rocked with the right cross. But then she jabs whenever she gets pressed, and she's able to defend the single leg attempt. But she eats a knee at the end. So she got hurt a little bit in that round, but you know, she clearly won the round. Dropped her with the front face kick, really hurt her there. Amanda Lemos minus 305, Michelle Waterson plus 255. And I don't want to do any props on this one. I know it's higher, love women's MMA, but still, dude, I'm not doing well with women's MMA. Going back and forth on, you know, the bet to make is probably Michelle. I just don't see a way she wins. I mean, she's busier, but I just don't think she's gonna land. I think Amanda Lemos is going to be able to land the bigger shots, get inside like Marina was able to, and she might get hit with a couple leg kicks here or there, but I mean, Amanda Lemos got the better on the feet of Jessica Andrade, it seemed like, at least for as long as they fought. And, you know, Waterson, not really one that has a superior ground game or anything like that, so I just think Lemos will be able to hit her and hurt her. Waterson, very tough, probably not going to get knocked out, but I think Lemos will have the bigger moments again, do more damage. The line really sucks, but it is what it is. My pick here is Amanda Lemos. All right. On to the main event of the evening. This is a super banger alert. 145 pounds, men's featherweight. You got 2 featherweight fights, so should be interesting. Brian T-City Ortega taking on Yair Pantera Rodriguez. Should be fun, man. Brian, you know, this one is for, I think if Yair wins this impressively, I think he gets the title shot next. But if Brian wins, you know, I don't think he's going to get a title shot again. Maybe they give it to Josh Emmett. 145 is kind of interesting right now. But Ortega took on Alexander Volkanovski his last fight. In the first round, he's outranged on some head kicks, but he gets backed up. Gets backed up a little bit by bit, nothing crazy though, but then he walks into a jab, and then he gets pressed, and he eats a right cross from Volk, but then he jabs, but then he eats a check right, and then he lands a left hook off of Volk's knee at the end. Then in the second round, he's able to catch his kick, and he's able to land a hook off that, and then he lands a jab and a leg kick, looking decent. He'll do that and then back out, just like combination at a time. Then he lands a straight right when they're inside the pocket. He's able to slip Volk's jab, and then he's on the fence. He eats a jab and a hook whenever Volk gets inside of him, and then he lands some leg kicks whenever he gets pressed, though. So, you know, he was really hammering the leg kicks early on in the fight. Got away from it toward the end, though. But, you know, doing some good work there. In the third round, he misses the hook, and then he gets hit with a head clash, and that really sucked, but they didn't stop the fight or anything. And he eats a body shot, but he's able to land an uppercut when Volk comes in. Then he eats some hooks on the inside off of Volk's jab. He's able to catch the kick, and then he jabs him, pushes him down, gets that top guillotine from hell. Volk's able to slip out of it, get on top of him, and beat the shit out of Brian. But then Brian's able to get that triangle, almost had it, loses it, slips off, and then he tries to get on his back, slips right off his back, and then eats some more ground and pound. And I didn't think they were going to continue the fight, but my God, Brian Ortega is one of the toughest people alive, and he came back out for it. but he was this close to finishing Volk. I'm sure you heard about it. But in the 4th round, he gets pressed, eats some overhands, but he's able to get on the inside. He tries the guillotine, but he gets reversed, and then eats some hard ground and pound. Up against the cage, he gets the inside trip real quick, but then he just goes for the guillotine. Doesn't really try to establish top position, and then Volk's able to slip out of it again. Obviously, because it's Alexander the Great. And then, eats more ground and pound. But then in the 5th round, I thought he did good. I thought you could arguably give him the 5th round. He lands a head kick at range, double jab, and then a straight right inside the pocket. Then he lands a right cross whenever they're in a pocket exchange, but then he eats a jab in return. But he's able to slip the uppercut, land a 1-2. And then he's able to eat, he eats a body, he eats a hook to the body and then the head in the pocket though. And then he lands a right cross at the end there. So I thought it was back and forth, 5th round. Thought you could have gave it to him, but whatever, man. But, as close as they say that fight was, Ortega had like 2 moments in there, but other than that, and I think he just got beat up so much on the ground because he just used all of his energy to submit him, and he didn't, and it was demoralizing. But it was, it was competitive on the feet, so he didn't get his ass beat like people might think. It's just because of Brian Ortega puts everything he has into it, man, and it was a great fight. So, and then Yair Rodriguez took on Max Holloway his last fight. In the 1st round, he gets pressured back, throws some kicks, then he lands some hooks whenever he gets pressed, eats some jabs at range, but he's able to counter with hooks of his own. Then he lands some leg kicks and then throws some hooks. Lands some leg kicks in the pocket, and then he's able to land a 1-2. They both kind of trade 1-2s, both snap each other's head back, and then he's able to catch the kick, get around his back standing. Doesn't really do much there, though. Then in the 2nd round, he's able to land a right cross whenever they're in a pocket exchange, lands some leg kicks, but he eats a jab and then a straight to the body from Max. Then his head kick gets blocked, and then he eats some body hooks in return. Max was making him pay here, but then they both trade in hooks on the inside, and then he gets space, and then he eats a 1-2. Just kind of let his guard down there, stood at range. Then in the 3rd round, he's able to defend. He defends a fake double from Max, and then he eats a hook and a jump knee from there. So, Max had him biting there. But then he gets dropped with a jab, and then he eats some ground and pound from the back. And Max really let him have it, but Yair hung in there, man. And then he lands a 1-2 and some odd hooks when he gets on the inside. Then he gets a double leg off of Max's hook. But then can't really keep him down though because it's Max Holloway. But then he gets doubled off of his leg kick toward the end. And then in the 4th round, he gets jabbed and he eats straight to the body. He gets put in a guillotine from Max, but he escapes it because it's Max Holloway, not really a guillotine guy. But then he goes for the leg lock and then he gives up his back. Just kind of stupid in my opinion, bad IQ. But Yair is an action fighter. Then he lands a jumping knee toward the end and then fires some kicks. Just kind of lets him fly. So decent work for him, keeping busy. Then in the 5th round, he lands a body kick and a 1-2-1 combination, and then he gets pressed to the fence, but he eats a knee and some hooks to the body again. But then he's able to land a hard elbow inside the pocket. Then he eats a flurry again on the fence, and then a jab at the end of it. Max didn't let him off the hook there. But then he gets pushed. He throws a wheel kick, and then he gets pushed over by Max. And Max gets on top, but he's able to use the underhook, and he's able to sweep, get on top of Max there. But then Max gets back to the feet, and he gets pushed to the fence, and then he eats some more shots, and then he misses a spin kick, and then he just gets clinched toward the end there. So, really fun competitive fight. I think Yair had, you got to give him the 1st round, but it was pretty back and forth fight. The thing was, though, Max was getting in and out, and then Yair was kind of just looking for the hooks. And Max was able to utilize a little bit more wrestling there. And then Max caught him in the 3rd round there. So, but Yair looked really good, man. I mean, that's Max Holloway. I know Max Holloway just lost to Volk, but Yair is plus 145 and Ortega minus 170. And I've been going back and forth on this one. I just think Rodriguez, I don't think he's going to get caught in these submission attempts. And Ortega doesn't have that great of takedown capabilities here. It's more so in the clinch. I thought Yair did okay in the clinches. And I think in the pocket exchanges, I think Yair's going to go crazy. I think he's going to rip to the body. I think he's going to maybe not hurt Brian. Brian doesn't really get hurt a lot. But I think he's going to, keep him from coming towards him so much. And I think it'll be a fun fight. I think it'll be crazy. But I think Yair just going to... he's going to land the bigger shots, you know. I think Ortega's going to clip him a couple times. I think Ortega might even catch him in something, but I think Rodriguez will be able to slip out of it. Like Yair, I think he'll know what's happening before it's happening because, you know, Yair goes for his leg locks too, so I don't know. We'll see. But to be honest with you, I don't know, man, and that's why I'm so excited. But my pick here is Yair Rodriguez. I like the underdog value money, and then, you know, Ortega just took a hell of a beating from Volkanovski. Took a lot of damage, so. All right, everybody, thanks for riding with me. Sorry I sucked so bad last weekend. This weekend, hopefully it's different. I did my research. That's all you can do, man. You know, but I appreciate everybody's support. Hopefully you guys win some money. I'll leave a comment down below. Like, share, subscribe. Tell some people about it. Just follow me Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Ask me questions. Give me advice. Clearly need it after last weekend. But I appreciate it. Let's see some upsets. Let's see some violence. And let's see some profits. Thanks, everybody. Good luck.